Hello and welcome on the NDTV Detol Banega Swasth India Facebook Live. We have with us Dr. Shikha Nehru Sharma today, who's going to be telling us that how we can enjoy this festive season, keeping the COVID protocol in mind, eating the right kind of food, and also enjoying all the celebrations. So, Dr. Sharma, the first thing what I would like to ask you here, many times, we are careful of what we're eating. We try not to eat wrong foods or not overeat. But when we suddenly change food habits, it does have an impact on our gut. So tell us, some tips, the mantras, what one should be doing to enjoy festivals as well, but also that we can take care of our health and fitness.
I think that's something which is on everybody's mind today, that how to celebrate without really compromising on your health. And especially, I would say, because we have gone through 2 years of the COVID terror, and most people are not very keen to get their health compromised. So, the first thing I would say is that during the festival, try to use foods which are natural, which are healthy. Especially, I would say, let's start with the oils. Now, a lot of people use oils which are highly refined oils. They are not virgin oils, and many of these refining processes are toxic for the body. And the biggest toxic accumulation starts from the gut, and gut also happens to be the first site of immunity. That means if you have a bad oil, you will damage your immunity in the gut, and that can have a lot of repercussions. So first is always have good quality oils and virgin oils. Number two, I would say, is go easy on white sugar. Why I would say white sugar go easy? Because white sugar by itself changes the whole ecosystem of the gut bacteria. That means the bad bacteria, which reduce our immunity, multiply much more when we have foods which are very high in white sugar. Which doesn't mean that sweets have to go out of your life. You can use natural sugar like dates, like jaggery, like sweetened with raisins. So try to shift towards natural sugar, which is uh, far more healthier compared to white sugar, which is very, very harmful. So you don't have to leave sweets, you just have to switch to natural. That's number two. Number three, I would say, which is very important, is that during this whole season, try not to have very heavy dinners every day. I can imagine, like, of course, people will be going out and enjoying with family and friends. So that's okay, like once or twice a week. But don't have a heavy dinner every day, because a lot of there's something called chronobiology, which means the biology of timing, which has clearly shown that when you eat after 6 p.m., the impact on your sleep is very negative. The impact on your insulin is very negative. So this is called chronobiology, and therefore I would say that if you have to indulge a heavy dinner, try to not cross twice a week. Uh, and of course, there are many more, which as we go along, we can take more questions.
So oil is something which you said is very important, and white sugar, and of course the timing, because it's important to give your stomach also that, a digestion system, that little break, right? So, I'm going to take on the first question, which before
Yes.
we, I have a lot of questions, which I'm going to keep coming back to. So, Barkha Mathur wants to know, Dr. Sharma, every year during the festival season, I tend to eat a lot of delicious festive and traditional dishes, sweets we cook at home. Earlier, I never thought about the impact of this on my body, but now, since the past few years, because of my desk job and sedentary life, I feel guilty every festival. Please suggest healthy food alternatives that can let me continue to enjoy food during festivals. So, Barkha's question.
So, Barkha, the first thing is that if you just switch to healthier sugar alternatives, and I'm not talking about chemical alternatives, I'm talking about, like, for example, adding dates and raisins to your sweets. So instead of having white sugar, if you make, say, a kheer with dates and raisins, it's really delicious. There is a natural taste which is very subtle but which stays longer. So if you have ever tried, if you take sugar, white sugar, and taste it, it gives you a hit. It hits you, and sometimes having too much of this gives you a buzz also, sugar buzz also. But if you have dates, if you have raisins, if you have sugar which is natural, like jaggery, it doesn't give you a sugar buzz. It doesn't give you a hit. So I think it's very easy in all your dishes, in all your recipes. Just switch to natural elements. try to combine a protein with things which, for example, if you're having something which is a little sweeter like dates, if you combine it, say, with having a protein base, dates with milk or dates with uh, paneer, you would the absorption of sugar is slowed down.
Okay.
And once the absorption is slowed down, its conversion to fat is also slowed down. So automatically you don't put much weight. And finally, I would say October is a lovely month, and it's not sweaty. It's not like summers. So it's a perfect time to start. Like, you could do dancing, you could do Pilates, you could do any form of fun exercise. And I always recommend fun exercise because work can be, exhausting. And then if exercise also becomes boring, there is no fun in life, and
Yeah.
you cannot have a life which is completely devoid of fun. So you can even learn some nice dance moves and exercise to that. It's a beautiful weather now.
I think that's, because since she said she has a sedentary lifestyle, so it's nice. And I think a very important point, Dr. Sharma, what you've said, that we need to enjoy the kind of workout. So whether it's going for a walk or even a dance, like you said, Zumba, there's so much to choose from. So I think, and right kind of sugar, these natural sweetener is key also. The next question, Aishwarya wants to know, during festivals, socializing is unavoidable and you end up compromising your health and fitness, most importantly, your diet. How can we ensure that this is not the case this year?
So I think most people, when they look at having a good body or a fit body, they look at what they shouldn't be eating. But I have a different viewpoint. I think if you fill yourself with things which you should be eating, it's easier to let go of things which you shouldn't be eating. Like, for example, if you decide that, okay, every day I'm going to have three complete fruits, which could be an apple, an orange, or papaya. So at least you have like a big bowl of fruit. So you
Yeah.
make it a point that irrespective what happens, you'll have that big bowl of fruit.
Mm.
If you decide that whatever cereal I have, normally it'll be whole grain. So even if you have like indulged at the in the party, but if your daily diet has a lot of whole grain, the body starts compensating. The body starts balancing out. Third thing is very important is, I think a lot of us have forgotten to drink water. There are very few people who drink water consciously. Many of us have just forgotten because most offices are air conditioned and there's ample tea and coffee coming our way. So water takes a backseat. So I think if you decide and keep a big bottle of water and finish that every day, so you will be doing the good things. So I always, there was a very interesting book by Charles Duhigg called The Power of Habits. And one of the things which was mentioned is that if you, instead of removing something, if you add a lot of good habits, the bad habits slowly go away. So you don't have to really focus on, oh, I don't want this. Rather focus on what do I want. And by the way, all these fruits are great for the skin because they're full of antioxidants. So if you do these three things to begin with, and most importantly, I think this one thing which I have seen working with women is, women are very hard on themselves. They keep such tall targets, and then even if they slip up a little bit, they go all the way back that, oh, I can't do it, and let me binge, and they go on a chocolate binge or whatever binge or whatever. So I think it's important to be fair to yourself that every week you can only modify one habit. You can't do everything together. So don't do everything together.
I think, yeah. And what you said about water also, because it hydrates you. Secondly, when you're filling yourself with the right things, because even if you go out, but if you've had enough during the day, healthy things, you can avoid the unhealthy things. So that's an important tip. Dr. Sharma, another very interesting question. Mr. S.K. Bhatia wants to know, how can we avoid bloating after the festive season? Please share some tips.
Okay, so first I would share a tip on my party trick. Before I go out to a party, I always have a bowl of roasted groundnuts. Now, roasted groundnuts do two things. One is protein, and one is healthy fat. So I feel full and I'm not hungry. Otherwise, if you go to a party ravenous, then you end up eating all the fried snacks even before the meal, and then you're eating the wrong, and you're eating too fast. So that also doesn't help. So for bloating, one of the things which I do is one is at night with lukewarm water, I have 1 teaspoon of triphala. Triphala is excellent for any kind of bloating. It's a gut balancer, and it's called a Maha Aushadhi also in Ayurveda.
Right.
The second thing which I always do is that before sleeping, I have like a jasmine tea. It's not really tea, it's jasmine infusion. Because there is no tea, so it doesn't stimulate the mind.
Mhm.
It relaxes the mind and the nerves. So jasmine infusion, and it's very easily available in the market.
Okay.
I have it before I sleep. It also reduces bloating.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so some tips: lukewarm water, trifla, and of course, what you said, you fill up your stomach rather than going eating out there, whatever is not really healthy as well. So that's okay. The other question, Anisha Bhatia, Dr. Sharma wants to know what are the foods we should be avoiding strictly during the festive season in order to stay as healthy as possible. Of course, you have told us about sugar and all, but in case there's anything else you want to add.
See, I would say that during the festive season, try not to have foods which you are not fond of. Many times what happens is we are eating just out of excitement or anxiety or something else, foods which we don't really want. And what happens is that we just fill ourselves with all these kind of foods, and then when our favorite food comes along, we feel guilty and we avoid that, and it sets off a craving. So
Yes.
I think fill yourself with foods which are healthy
Mhm.
and keep a little bit scope for your craving also. Like I know there are a lot of people who have a chocolate craving.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you can't eat chocolate. No, I wouldn't say that, because the more you say no, the more the mind would want it. So
Wants to
it's
eat it.
yeah, it's a very peculiar thing that
Yeah.
the mind only wants things which you will say don't eat. So
Yeah.
I think, I would say if there's a particular craving, have a little bit. Don't totally say no, because otherwise you'll want it more. But otherwise, have, for example, I would say like you have like bajra, chana, barley
Mhm.
roti. They are very fibrous. They keep you full. But don't have it as a punishment. Make it very exciting. Like you can put little bit of like grated paneer in it, or you can put some pureed spinach in it, or you can put little bit of grated carrot on inside. So make your food exciting and interesting. Don't be scared of uh,
Trying.
and don't eat less. That's a big problem. I've seen a lot of people in trying to diet eat less. I would say don't eat less of the bad food, switch over to having enough of the good food. So, like for example, instead of having, say, one slice of bread, which is high sugar, it's high glycemic index, which means
Yeah.
it converts to fat, have two rotis of mixed atta, which has jowar and bajra. So you get your fill, and it will not make you fat. In fact, I would say even if you are having things like roasted peanuts, and you are
Mhm.
having things like jowar roti, bajra roti, you'll be surprised. With two rotis, you will not be putting on weight compared to that one slice of white bread.
Yeah. So I think eating right here, Dr. Sharma, is very important, right? I think knowing what is good for you. Many times we just take a toast and we think it's healthier, but it's about making the right choices.
Yeah, so one of the things which we discovered, at my organization is we kind of looked at people who were eating less, which is a very traditional low calorie diet, but they were eating like roti, bread, sugar, everything, but they were eating less. And at the other end, we looked at people who were following a structured plan where they were eating, like for example, besan chila or a chana roti or a jowar roti or a bajra roti, and they were eating enough. In fact, they were eating more than what they would
Yeah.
usually eat. So this group A, which was eating all this healthy stuff, actually lost weight without starving even for a
Starving.
day. Forget about starving; they're eating more.
Yeah.
So what I feel is when you eat very very high glycemic index foods, you end up uh, actually having uh, more starvation,
Yeah.
more craving, and more of that high glycemic index food converts to fat deposits.
So, I mean, I think also awareness on this. I have a personal question before, we just last few questions. Sorry, I know we're running out of time. Karwa Chauth is on the 24th. And obviously, women, also it's Diwali coming up, it's a weekend. Sometimes, it leads to a lot of indigestion for ladies, or they don't know what to eat. Of course, you break your fast with that water and the traditional food, right? Any tip for all the ladies who are going to be fasting this weekend?
I think that's a wonderful question. I would say all the ladies out there, make sure that you break your fast with whatever is there and coconut water, because this is a season which actually is drying and heating for the body. So if you see a lot of people have scalp dryness, skin dryness, and it is heating for the body this entire season. So during this, when you break your karwa chauth with whatever you're supposed to, but have coconut water also. That will really take care of the bloating, the gas, and everything, all other problems. And make sure that don't have fried things at night, because on an empty stomach, fried things can cause havoc.
Dr. Sharma, just another question on, then suddenly we start eating a lot or eating wrong foods. It does have an impact on our gut health. Tell us 5 tips or tell us the foods we should eat during the season to stay fit and healthy.
So let me start the countdown. The first thing is, in the morning when you wake up, it's always good to have an infusion of ginger, tulsi, and a little bit of black pepper. And after the infusion is made, let's add like a half a teaspoon of honey. And this should be your morning drink. This should be your wake up drink. Don't start your day with tea or coffee because it's too acidic for the body. The second thing I would say is that have some kind of a cooling salad during the day, because this particular season is kind of acidic for the stomach, because the intestine is the fundamental site of immunity. It has Pear's patches, and this immunity sits in the intestine. So when you have like a bowl of chopped tomatoes, cucumber, you can even grate a little bit of coconut on it. So grated coconut, a bowl of cucumber and tomatoes, easiest to do. You don't need any cooking skills, but it's very delicious and it is very cooling for the body. Third thing is ki you should like push up your plant protein. So step up on your plant protein, and there are a lot of plant proteins which are interesting. Like for example, boiled white chana, a bowl of white chana with chaat masala, with garnishings, with tomato, with cucumber, with gherkins. You can give it an Indo-Western fusion.
So
Put
make it
gherkins,
like a salad.
make it like a salad, and have at least one bowl a day. Next thing I would say is that it's very important to have some nice sweet in the day, but coming from fruits. So what you could do is you could have a bowl of fruit. It could be chopped fruits, and on top of that you could garnish it with pomegranate, anar. You could even garnish with a little bit of chaat masala and have this as a fix, like your sweet fix. And in fact, another thing which I have seen many people do for their kids is that they dip a fruit in melted chocolate. So they give a combination of fruit and chocolate to the child instead of giving just pure sugary chocolate. So that's another thing you could try. One more thing you could do is take vegetable juices, which means that which could be carrot, cucumber, beetroot, tomato, and maybe half an apple. Blend them in a juicer and have one tall glass every day. This is your daily fix of multivitamin and your antioxidants. It's good for the skin, good for the hair. Uh, Another thing I would say is make sure you're having enough water. I know it's been said before, said many times, but it's one of the fundamentals to health, having those 10 glasses of water or a big bottle of water every day. And have a light dinner. Light dinners is easiest because if you're having food throughout the day, but if you're starving, then light dinner is almost impossible. So eat during the day. That's very important. And finish your day with warm water with half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of triphala powder.
So I think you've given us a really, really, I mean, and these are all doable things, important things, but they're all doable. And of course, the little dose of physical exercise, which you have told us that how important it is to keep doing that as well.
Absolutely. And physical exercise, I would say, is my prescription for mental happiness.
It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for sharing all these important tips, but they're really doable and easy. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma.
Thank you for inviting me.